Hey everyone, so I want to go through some of the newest features that Amazon just released on the PPC platform. Go ahead, if you haven't already, subscribe to the videos that I'm making. I'm going to try to keep up with all the new features Amazon is releasing. And again, I'm walking through real life examples on real life accounts. So I'm going through this, I'm showing you guys the real data. I hope you like it. All right, now the most recent thing are these bid adjustment placement data that Amazon just released. And this video is going to be a more advanced manual campaign structure. I know my last video was kind of how to do a research phase for manuals with the negative keyword tiered structure there. And so now you can kind of, what we want to look at, once you have done research with your manual, what can you go from there? How can you be more aggressive once you know your keywords? Now, if you haven't already, again, Amazon releases these things and they choose to not tell everyone about it. So if you're in one of your manual campaigns, you can go up here to placements and you can see this is date range last month. You can see it gives you the exact metrics for where your ad is on Amazon. Now, if you've done any of this manual before, you know that top of the page is where you want to be. It is more expensive, but the click-through rates and the conversion rates are so much higher that that's where you almost need to be to get the most relevant data. So you can see here last month, even the impressions on product pages were 24,000 impressions, 79 clicks, and I mean the ACOS for this account is still low, but if you compare that to the top of search, it had way fewer impressions, but the click-through rate was what, eight or almost 10 times as much. So again, that's where you're getting the most reliable data is at the top of the page. So if you haven't already, what you want to do here with some of your manuals is do this bid adjustment. Now, before we do that, I want to go into this first category here, where this says campaign bidding strategy. You can read into this. It tells you a little bit about what it is. I've already done some testing with this. This is a lot more dangerous than this bid adjustment. So to edit the campaign bidding strategy, you go to the campaign settings. What this does is both of these, you can kind of think of them as replacing bid plus. They said this one replaced bid plus. I think this one is kind of the same thing. So all this is, it's in beta, they're testing it. I've done some tests with this and it really, really increases your bids. So you need to be extremely careful with this. Dynamic bids down only. This is the safest one. This is what it defaults to. Up and down. What this is, so if you click this, they'll raise your bids by a maximum of 100%, which means they could double your bids without you even knowing. You have no control over that again. So that's why I think the up and down is extremely dangerous. I ran it for a week on a couple accounts. It was not great. So I would stick to the down only. The fixed bids, that's a little plain too. So stick with the down only for now, unless you're very, very on top of your manual. Maybe if you have a campaign that has only a couple keywords in it, maybe like just exact matches, you want to try this up and down, but watch it very, very closely. So this is where you go, your down only. Here, so you can change this here, but I kind of like to change this over here because you can change it by looking at the metrics. So what this is, let's take a step back here. This is a manual campaign, but this manual campaign, I believe this is only a broad match group. So this is only a broad match group. We've tested phrasing broad. We're just running broad in this at this time. So, and it has 27 keywords in it. So what this would do is if I raise this to 20%, it would take all of the keyword bids, all of the 27 keyword bids in this ad group, and if they're eligible to be at the top of the page, it would raise them by 20%. So you can do this up to 900, interesting number. You can get super aggressive with this. I'm testing this somewhere between 20 to 40% right now to raise these. But if you think about this, this is going to raise it for all of the keywords in your ad group. So this is where I'm taking a step back, and this is what I'm saying is you want to be more aggressive with this with your converting keywords. So let's jump into a search term report. So this is that campaign for last month. We can see the targeting here and the customer search term. Now, again, these are bamboo fountains, the same example I've been using. So you can see the customer search term bamboo fountain has gotten the most clicks. It hasn't gotten the most sales, but these three keywords, right? They have pulled in about $1,000 worth of sales compared to all of these other ones that maybe have a few $100s between them. So once you know that your keywords convert like this, you want to move them over into exact match. And that's when you want to start to be more aggressive. So again, the broad and the phrase and those initial manual campaigns are to find these search terms, because you can put in your keywords, but the search terms tell the real story. So what you want to do here is let's make a new campaign with these keywords. So we're just going to do a quick test just to show you. So test, you set your budget. Now, again, if I'm doing this, I would call this campaign, high volume keywords, first page, exact, because this is going to be a very aggressive campaign. We want to have our ads on the top of the page. So ad group is going to be exact. We're going to select one of these products here, and we're going to enter the keywords, and we're going to enter them as exact match. Now, once you've done this, this is the biggest thing that people ask me a lot too, is how do you know the bids to set, your initial bids to set? These are where the research campaigns come in. Because so you can set a keyword bid. The keyword bids are always going to be higher than the cost per click. But what you want to do is take your cost per click and set that as your keyword bid, and then raise it, say, 20% higher than that. Because this is your cost per click. That's where your metrics do okay. So use this data. Don't use the suggested keyword bid that Amazon gives you once you have your own data, because your own data is more reliable than the suggested one that Amazon gives. Okay, so some of these are pretty close. Bamboo fountain, their suggested is 40% or 40 cents, and we have our cost per click at 50 cents. So again, I want to use what we have here. So 50, I think this one was 33, and this one was 52. And then once I do that, I would want to raise those by 30%. Okay, so you can do all those calculations on yourself, and then raise these bids just a little higher. Now, what you do here is, I don't think they give you an option for this. See, so there you go. So they even have this hidden when creating your campaign. It's almost super hard to find. So this is where we only have 3 keywords in our ad group. So this is where you can start to use these tools more to your advantage, because you're only raising this on 3 keywords. And these are the keywords convert, have brought in most of your sales. So you want to make sure you're at the top of the page for these. So raise these by 50%, and then maybe for the product pages, you raise these by 20%. So I think that's the biggest thing to note with these new tools is if you do them for your campaigns with hundreds of keywords, it could get messy. It could get expensive. It could work out. You could get some good data from it. But I think to play it safe, you want to use these in much more targeted areas. And that's kind of the idea with the search term report, is you're asking, what do you do with the data once you have it? You use the data. So look at everything that Amazon offers to you. They offer you the match type, the suggested bid, the negative keywords. You can get all of that from a search term report where you kind of know what works. That's another thing. I know I've mentioned this before. If you're setting up campaigns, and you should already have a list of negative keywords for your products. So for bamboo fountains, I know Some people say like fountain pen was getting matches to this. So you put pen in there, maybe you put pencil, because these are keywords that have popped up in your search term report that haven't converted. You want to get ahead of them in your new campaigns. Even though it's exact match, this is just an example. You should always have a list of negative keywords that you're constantly adding to, that you're putting in your campaigns. All right, so that's a little more of an aggressive strategy for your exact match keywords, your high volume ones, getting you to the first page. This is how you can use these new tools from Amazon. I hope it helped. And again, subscribe. I'm going to try to be making more of these videos, keeping up with all the changes that's coming to Amazon. There's a few more hidden ones I'm going to try to touch on in a couple of weeks.